Welcome back to the Wealth Boomerang show. We're chatting to Sheehan, the human MRI, and we've just put her on the spot, having a look inside of people's bodies to tell them how their blood levels are and what internal organs need fixing. Jean, that wasn't the first time that someone's actually put you on the spot and done something horrible to you. In the past, you've been stalked, you've been raped, you had the death of your mother on Christmas Day, you've been homeless. How did you bounce back from all these horrible things that occurred in your life?
I never saw them as horrible things. I always saw it that I would learn something from it, and that's that potentiality that I was talking about before. And that wasn't a case of bouncing back, it was just understanding that we all create our life, right down to disease, and I created that to learn something. And out of all those experiences, the one thing I did learn was compassion. So that when I deal with people, if they've been homeless, stalked, raped, etc., then I can relate to them. Yeah.
Okay. Do we need to go through those horrible things in order to relate to people?
Definitely not. Okay. Definitely not.
I don't want to go through some of those
No,
things.
definitely not. For me, it was just opening me up to seeing more potential in me more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to going through those things, you also went through a period where you were very, very depressed and you became suicidal. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. Some of my upbringing was that I was told that I wasn't lovable, acceptable, one, because of this gift, partly my background of the Middle East, girls weren't accepted in the first place. And having that thrown at me all the time, I started to believe it. I didn't see that I was good at school, I didn't see I was good at sport, I didn't see I was good at making friends, all the things that were socially acceptable, because I hid that gift or potentiality. And as one thing and another started to get on top of me, and the more I hid myself, the more I went into what I call that black space or depression. And it was when I was 26 and my oldest son was 3 years old, I decided I just couldn't take the pain anymore of hiding. And so I decided, with my nursing background, I knew how to bump myself off quickly, quietly, and make sure there was no mess. Had the pills in my hand, was ready to do it until I got a vision of my boy who was at childcare, got a vision of my boy pop up in my face. And I thought, if I do this, then I actually teach him to stop him being himself. And that's why I decided, right, that's it, I can't. I need to change my life. And that's when I call it, I came out of the closet. I started to tell people just secretly about what I could do, and it evolved from being a secret to word of mouth to going part-time to full-time, where I gave up nursing.
Okay. Yeah. So you had this ability of being able to look into people's bodies ever since you were born.
Yes.
But for years and years and years, you hid it from your parents, you hid it from your friends, and you even hid it from your husband.
Yes. Yeah.
How did that work with you looking inside of people's organs at home and having consultations without your husband even knowing that you had this ability?
Well, it was easy because I did shift work and I was nursing. He'd be at work, or he was also in the Defence Force, so he'd be away. So it was great. I would just consult without him knowing. It was very, very easy. Yeah.
Would you recommend that other women out there run a secret business without telling their husband?
Not at all, not at all. And when I did tell him, I mean, he was very upset, which was totally understandable. Plus he didn't have the opportunity to grow with me and learn about the gift as well. Because I met him when I was 16, so it could have been way, way back that he learnt about me, but I was frightened of what he'd think of me, the real me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, or 16 years, you kept this hidden from everybody else. For 10 years, you kept it hidden from your husband.
Yeah.
Now, you say that everybody has a gift. We've just got to wake up and realise it. Is that a psychic gift that we can cultivate? Is that what sort of gift are you talking about?
Each person is great at something. It's called potentiality. And that human potentiality is that you need to find out what you're good at. So some people are good at talking on TV. Some are good at making orange juice. Some are good at, such as the lady that created Boost Juice. Her gift was making juices. Richard Branson, his gift was to sell a product before he'd actually made it. And that's how he still runs his business now. So each of us has a gift, but if we allow ourselves to find our gift of it's basically anything that you like to do, anything that you're really good at. And then that, if you accept it, that turns into what's called a profit. Everything seems to align where the doors open, money comes in, the right people come in, everything just seems to flow. When you go against that, everything blocks. Yeah.
Now, you've got this ability to see inside of my body and David's body and everybody else's body. You've got that all the time while you're on the bus, while you're walking around. How distracting is it being able to see everybody's junk?
It's not now. Not at all. As a little child and as a teenager, I was fascinated. So I probably looked like I was staring as I was sort of going like that, but it's not distracting at all. Now it's just part and parcel. It was difficult earlier on when I was nursing because I would understand what I was seeing, and especially when I see people and I think, oh my God, they're going to die, and they don't know. So there was a battle within me. Do I say something? Don't I say something? What if I said something they didn't believe me? What if I said... So there was a battle, but distracting not anymore.
If I see someone who's about to trip over and about to fall down a cliff or something like that, I feel like it's my moral duty to tell them. If you see someone who's got a blocked duodenum or someone who's about to have a coronary artery or something like that, do you feel like it's your duty to tell them, or you feel like you're interrupting?
Not so much duty. It will be dependent on the situation. So yes, say if it's a coronary or a heart attack type situation, I might try to intervene, but that each person has free will. They have a choice whether they choose to live or die. So no matter what I do, they can choose the opposite anyway.
Okay. So some people are actually choosing illness, some people are choosing to die.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a bit heavy.
It's extremely heavy, but that's when I see inside the body. Why is it some people that will come for consults, they choose not to do what their body wants, and they choose passing over or dying.
You do recommendations for people. You do a lot of international clients via Skype and things like that, and you make recommendations. Are there people who deliberately not follow your advice?
Yes.
Wow.
And they have free will, and that's fine. But it's also giving us, so if Uncle Bob decides not to do as his body says, and he chooses to die, that actually gives the whole family a huge awareness. That's a gift in itself, but we don't understand that.
Wow. So you're saying suppression is a gift, depression is a gift, and you've got an amazing gift that you share with a lot of people. Thank you, Jean, for coming onto the show. Thank you for having a look at my stuff and having a look at David's stuff, and for doing the work that you do, because years ago you would have been burned as a witch, and now you're out there loud and proud and speaking your truth. So thank you very much. Jean Sheehan, the Human MRI, her business is called Millennium Education. The website is allthews.absoluteempowerment.com, or you can search for Human MRI on Google and you'll find her. Thank you, Jean, for being on the show, and thank you for watching the Wealth Boomerang Show. Every week we profile someone who has boomeranged back and created their own wealth in their own way. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook to join the discussion about the show, ask questions of the guests, or suggest guests or topics that you'd like to see. Next week we present Eric Bailey as a baby who was crippled and abandoned but defied the odds to walk, run and play professional basketball with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. He's now almost 7 feet of sheer inspiration and has a message for you about overcoming any physical or mental barrier. Make sure you book yourself in to watch that show, and remember that whatever you send out comes back to you. Your wealth is whatever you value, and your wealth is whatever you say it is. Good night, Brisbane, and good night, Asher, my rose. Daddy loves you. See you next week for another Wealth Boomerang Show.
It really matters what you think. It also matters what you do. So if your brain waves don't just sink, what you send out comes back to you.